welcome back to the He Heals podcast.
Oh, yeah. He Heals podcast.
As you can see, this is the first time that we're having a guest. And
First time.
I'm so excited. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know who this is. But if you don't, this is... Oh, well, you can introduce yourself.
No, you can introduce me if you want.
This is Devon. This is my boyfriend, my photographer, my videographer, my editor, my producer, and the list goes on.
Pretty much all the above, huh?
Yeah, you do a lot for me, and I appreciate you.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Of course.
Yeah. I also wanted to address the elephant in the screen. If you're watching on YouTube.
Hope she's not talking about me.
No. So, I mean, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you won't get it. But if you're watching on YouTube, yes, we're in a different location. That was probably very obvious.
Very different.
Yeah, normally we are at your place, but since this is our first time having a guest, I wanted to have mics. So, for the audio. I don't have a mic yet. That's my bad, honestly. So
yeah, no, but we can kind of like make what we do or make what we have.
Make do with what we have.
There you go. That's how it goes.
Yeah. So we're doing it. Doing it.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. So, okay. I wanted you to be my first guest because a lot of this podcast so far has been my testimony. And if you've listened to every episode, you know that a big part of my testimony has been from relationship rejection. I was in a relationship and I had that really rough breakup. And when I was at my lowest of lows, that's when I was so desperate for God to heal me, to fix this hot mess. And that's like where it all started for me. Mm-hmm. So this being towards the end of the season, we're in episode 9 now.
That's so crazy.
I know.
8 episodes. Well, 9 episodes now.
Yeah. It is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to pretty much end this season with our story because it is a huge testimony, a huge part of both of our testimonies. So I wanted to share this story.
Sure.
Yeah. So should we just say it?
Yeah, let's just start.
Okay. All right. So I feel like not a lot of people know how we met or how we know each other.
Yeah.
So I think we should just tell that
story.
And then go back.
And then kind of rewind.
And
then
paint the picture.
Got you. Okay. So do you want to go first or?
Okay, well.
And then I'll do like kind of my side of that same story.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Well, first, okay. So we know each other because I dated his friend. Yeah. I know what it sounds like. But there's a lot to the story, which is why we're here, because it's honestly a God story. So
it's not as bad as you think.
It's not as bad as you think.
Yeah.
Okay, rewind. The first time we ever met was 2019, somewhere in the year. And it was at a mutual friend's dinner, like a going away dinner.
Yeah.
It was my first time meeting that person, but one of your good friends.
Mm-hmm. One of our good friends now.
Now one of both of our good friends.
Yeah.
And we just happened to sit across from each other.
Yeah, we were actually there with the person we were currently dating.
Yeah.
So you were dating my friend, and then I was with my previous girlfriend as well.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because there's a picture.
There's a picture.
And we're...
The first picture we ever had was that time where we first met and where we were sitting
with
together.
Our exes.
Yeah, and we were just having, small talk and stuff.
Yeah. But you don't remember our conversation.
I don't. Yeah, you were bugging me when we were like first talking.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to determine like when the first time we actually met was. But yeah, so.
Yeah, so really that first time we met was just like small talk. I don't know. Like it wasn't much. And we had only met like, or seen each other in person like a couple times
After that.
after that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and in total, from the time that I was in my relationship,
Yeah,
I had only been around you like a few times.
I think at that time was the only connection that we had was my friend that you were dating. So like there wasn't really much mutual like events or like
Yeah.
things that we would go to that we would like run into each other.
Yeah.
So,
You did personally invite me to your birthday party.
I
though.
did.
I just want to
Yeah.
throw that out there. But I couldn't make it
Yeah. Because no, it's okay.
because of work. I had
Yeah,
work, I think.
yeah.
Anyways, so that's how we met. That's how we know each other originally. But me and my boyfriend at the time, we broke up. And I think you take it from here, say your side of the story.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you'll kind of fill in after that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so, we met that first time. It was at a Punch Bowl in, I don't even know what area that, Fontana? Yeah, so
Yeah,
just
Victoria
just like small talk, friends at a mutual friends party. And then, yeah, we only saw each other like maybe, 3-4 times after that, sporadically, like within the couple months. But yeah, so it wasn't like we didn't like become close at all. Literally just very, very superficial. And then, yeah, like I didn't see you for like maybe like 6 months or after that or whatever. So yeah, like after our brief encounters, I think you were dating my friend for just a couple months after that. And then, just by word of mouth, a couple months after that, I heard that you guys broke up. But obviously, I was, just really wasn't thinking much of it, just kind of being there for my friend. So yeah, like I'm trying to think of it chronologically as well. So just kind of like on my side of things, just kind of like painting the picture for you guys, because this is actually part of my testimony as well, even though this is Rachel's podcast. It's really crazy how God just brings things together in the midst of just the craziest instances,
Yeah.
So yeah, just to kind of give you a brief background of my story, I was in a relationship, my first ever relationship. We started dating in high school. At that point, when we met each other, we were dating for almost 12 years. So, this is the person I thought I was going to marry and everything. So obviously when we met, didn't think anything of it because I was set with the person I was with,
Yeah.
So yeah, fast forward, a couple months after that, I think you guys broke up.
I think it was around the same time.
Around the same time, yeah. So fast forward to, what was it, 2020?
Like late 2020. So
yeah.
we had been single for like
Late
at least
20
9.
No, not late 2020, because 2020 March was when COVID happened.
Yeah.
So we got, well, I was gonna talk
Oh,
about
sorry.
breaking up. No worries.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So me and my my previous girlfriend, we broke up around January of 2020. December 2019, January 2020. And yeah, like complete like world upside down kind of thing. So yeah, it was a huge change for me. 2020 beginning, like that was January, so COVID didn't even happen yet. But like everyone knows that like that year just became the worst year for pretty much everyone. But for me and my family specifically, obviously that kind of started everything. And then a couple months after that, COVID obviously happened in March. But then kind of like July actually of that year was the start of a really, really probably the roughest time that my family has personally gone through within our relationships. And, like that was probably like the lowest of lows and everything. So yeah, during this time, it was very intentional for me to not look for someone because obviously I was still recovering from, this huge breakup and everything, trying to figure out my life in the transition of career thing. COVID happens, and then this really, really rough point with my family. So like during that time I entered a space, I was like, God, like I literally don't know what to do. But like it was a very big transition moment for me. For like it resorted to like a complete surrender of God, like you take the direction of my life. Like obviously something's not working with how we're living with things. So yeah. Sorry, I tend to kind of like ramble on.
No, that was perfect because I almost skipped over that. And I'm so glad you shared that part of it because it's crazy because it parallels kind of with me and with my singleness time era. I don't know. That obviously was like a lowest of low for me, but it was so pivotal because you used the word surrender and that's what it was. It was like, okay, God, like whatever I've been doing, it's not working.
Right.
And I need you to come take over. And it was knowing that we were both like praying those same prayers. Like God did that. And so you were coming out of that. Okay, now we're at the end of 2020, like October.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, ish.
And I got a DM from this gentleman.
We're going to go into that part of the story.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, like that's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, do you want to? Because it sounds when you I don't know, when you think DMs, like slide into the DMs, like
current culture.
Pop culture, current culture has the connotation. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
That it's like sly
with intention.
Yeah, you have an intention of like
with social
hey
media.
Girl,
right. That's
trying
the
to
kind
hit
of
on
terminology.
Person. So I don't know if you want to like not explain yourself.
Yeah, no. I'll explain. Kind of like at this point we'll kind of like tell both of our perspectives because it's kind of it's crazy now putting both of the perspectives together and like learning what each other was going through at that time.
What we were thinking because we had no idea what each other was thinking. But
yeah. So fast forward, going back to that intentional singleness. So that lasted for a couple months. So like that part of my family's situation happened in July. So fast forward July all the way to October. That whole time I was like, I'm not looking for a relationship, working on myself, exercising more, getting my health right. Because it's really easy for someone to go into the space of just like negativity and it just eats away at you. And I'm a person that has a personality that like, if something goes wrong, it's something because of me, So in different situations, obviously not every situation that goes wrong is because of you.
Right.
But I tend to have that mindset. And if you continue down that mindset, it can be very toxic for you and it's like self-destruction. Yeah. So I was really trying to like surrender myself at that time and using more of that negative energy and stuff to feel positivity in my life. So I'm like, let's go after that business I've been wanting to start. Let's get my health right. Let's, be more positive with everything. At the same time, like telling God that, just take control over the direction of my life. And everything like that. So fast forward, not wanting to be in a relationship, but also I should kind of rewind. I kind of gave God, prerequisites for the next person. I told him that I didn't want to pick the next person, if that makes sense, but I wanted him to make it obvious that I were to pursue this person.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. But I also wanted to make sure that she was Christian. I wanted like nothing. I had a checklist, but it wasn't like super crazy. But Christianity is a huge important part of my, relationship goals and everything. You
yeah, you had a checklist, but you also had a wish list
I did have a wish list.
of, they weren't like non-negotiables. They were just like,
It'd
God,
be
this would be
cool
cool.
if, yeah.
That would be cool. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, why did you DM me?
Yeah. So yeah, no, like
Explain yourself, sir.
Oh, I also went on intentional season of no social media. So I deleted my account for a while
Nice.
just to like really like,
Yeah.
because social media has a way of getting to you as well, like constant comparison and everything. So without being like sidetracked. So yeah, I went a couple months without being on Instagram, Facebook, or everything. I deleted them so I wouldn't even be tempted to get on social media. But then after I felt like I was in a better place with my family, with my personal self, I went back on. Maybe for like a month or something like that, and like catching up and everything. And there's this part in Instagram that has like recommended friends based on like who you follow and stuff like that. And then your picture popped up, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that she had an Instagram. Like, mind you, like we haven't been talking at all. Like I haven't heard from her since a year or so before that. So like no connection whatsoever. But yeah, like you look familiar, obviously, and the times that we did interact was positive. Like you're a cool person, super chill. Yeah, and just fun to hang out with. Very, very authentic and everything, and I like that. So I was like, oh, like I'm the kind of person that would talk to anybody, like girl, guy.
Yeah.
So like when I slide into DMs, I'm not like with intentions.
Yeah.
Like my intentions are very like genuine, I guess. So yeah, I saw your picture. I slid into your DMs. And I forgot what exactly I said, but it's like, oh, hey, like I didn't know you had an Instagram.
Yeah, it was something like that.
How you doing kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, that was what you said. And my initial reaction was like, I put that wall up, and ladies probably know what I'm talking about when like a guy messages you, you got a wall up. Like,
right.
What are your intentions, sir? Like, I know you have in my mind, I was like, I know you have a girlfriend. So I think my response was, hey, like, I'm good. How are you? How's your girlfriend?
Yeah,
That's literally what I said.
Yeah.
But just to like pause right there, now knowing you and the kind of person you are, I can like fully believe you when you say like you had like no intentions, like it was very innocent, because I know you now, and that's just the kind of person you are. Like you use social media for what it was meant to be, and you literally connect with people. You stay connected with friends from years ago.
Right.
You're still communicating with them on Instagram, in the DMs, and that's just you. You just you talk to people. You're not like me where I can
Once in a while.
scroll and not feel the need to talk to anyone. But so now I know. But at the moment I was like wall up like, hey, how's your girlfriend?
Yeah.
And that's when you told me. You told me that you guys broke up, and I knew how long they were together, like 12 years.
Yeah, because you met her too, like with those interactions.
Yeah, I had met her, and my heart, let me tell you, I was like, oh my gosh, like, are you okay? I went into like supportive mode because you guys know a breakup was such a huge part of my story that anytime someone tells me that they're going through a breakup, like my heart just goes out to that person. Because I get it. I understand. I've been there. I know how hard and how painful that is. So when you told me that you guys broke up after being together for 12 years, I was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, do you want to talk?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, that was basically
and it's weird, like based on your responses, like that's like a normal response, right? For sympathy. It's like, oh, like, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. But I don't know what it was. I think it was just like how you phrased your response. I kind of knew that it was a little different. It wasn't like, oh, just normal, like, oh, are you okay? It's like, I feel like looking back, I think I remember thinking like, oh no, like this person's actually, wanting to talk about it. It's because like you added a lot of other stuff. It's like, I'm here if you need me, like we can talk about it, which we'll get into. Yeah. But yeah, so like looking back at that, I really appreciated that response. like from a friend to a friend, you
Right.
know, just like to check up on each other. So
Yeah. So I told him, I was like, hey, if you want to talk, like, I'm here for you. I was like for real, like I think oftentimes it's easy to just say that, like, hey, if you want to talk, I'm here for you, like, I'm praying for you. It's easy to just say that,
Right.
but it's different when you actually mean it. Like, I
Right.
really wanted to, like, meet up with you to make sure, like, you were good and just to be there, someone you could talk to, because I know how guys are. They don't really open up easily. They often don't open up to each other. I mean, it kind of depends. There are guys who have like solid friendships like that.
Right.
But I didn't know. So like, I just wanted to be that friend to you. And so we made plans to meet up.
Yeah, no, like I took it up on, like, I took her up on her offer, because in my mind, like it was very, I kind of like, I felt ready to talk about it to someone. So I'm also a person that doesn't open up easily, especially about personal stuff, just because I don't like inconveniencing someone. It's like, it's my problem. So it's like, I'll deal with it like my own way. But given our relationship at the time was very like basic and like you don't really know anything about me, I don't really know anything about you, our only connection was a mutual friend. I was like, I felt safe enough to be like, hey, like, why not like talk to someone? And yeah, like what you said before, like it's harder for guys to open up to other guys, and talk about like really emotional stuff, because like, yeah, it does get awkward for that kind of thing. So I felt more inclined to talk to another girl just because, you know, it's more therapeutic in that way, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I get that. Yeah. So we made plans.
we did.
At the time I was working nights, so my availability was nighttime on my days off. And we were going to meet up for dinner. And we decided to
Dinner because you worked, and like
That
the
was the only
nighttime is your daytime because you were night shift. Just
Yeah.
to kind of like explain,
That
it's like
was-
meeting up for dinner. The people that haven't like connected.
Yeah, that was that was
explaining
my
why it was
availability.
dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And for whatever reason, we ended up picking sushi.
yeah.
So we went to sushi, and it's so funny, like, because we met up. First of all, I hadn't seen you in like a year. So when he walked up, I was already there. I got there like on time. He was like a little bit late. Sorry.
A little bit late.
No
I
offense.
told you I was gonna be late. Though.
You did,
I
though.
wasn't-
You
yeah.
weren't. So I'm
It was
there.
like 5 minutes late.
We're getting to the good part of the story.
Yeah.
So I was there waiting, not for long, but he comes up. Mind you, like he said, he was working out, okay? He was taking care of himself while he was single. And I hadn't seen him in a long time. And I was just like, Devon? Like, I didn't recognize you.
Yeah.
I didn't. You lost a lot of weight, and you had contacts before. You only wore
Right.
glasses.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So you looked so different.
Yeah.
That was a shock. And it was a good thing. In a good
Yeah,
way.
like mutually too. Like I haven't seen you in like over a year, and I was like, oh wait, like I forgot how cute you were. But I was like, no, like this is an innocent thing.
Yeah,
Trying
yeah.
not to go down that road in my mindset. I was like, we're just
Right.
catching up.
Right.
In a public place, we're just having dinner and
Yeah.
sushi outside. This is during COVID, so they didn't have indoor seating at that
Mm-hmm.
time. So it was just outside, and it was a really busy night as well.
Yeah.
So it was pretty packed.
Yeah. So we
So.
got seated, and it was so funny because I feel like we had this thought at the very same time.
Mm-hmm.
We sat down, and it was like, this feels like a date.
Yeah, I remember we kind of like looked at each other. We're like,
Yeah. It got a little awkward.
yeah, it was nighttime, sushi,
Right.
like
Dinner.
Yeah, right.
It felt like a date, but
Yeah.
we didn't intend for it to be a date. So we just kind of rolled with it.
Right. We're like, it is what it is.
We rolled with it, and we had dinner. I think that kind of was small talk, and then it was after. First of all, we ran into your friends, which was
Oh yeah, that
a funny
was later
coincidence.
during that time.
Yeah, like after dinner. Mm-hmm. That might be a story for another time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it was after dinner where we like finally talked and had that conversation where we really opened up to each other. And looking back, I think that conversation is what like attracted me to you. The fact that you were able to open up and tell me about like all the hard things you were going through, that was attractive. You hear that, men? That vulnerability was attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, no. So yeah, dinner was very like small talk, catching up. And then mind you, like, yeah, it wasn't intended to be a date, but also did feel like a date. So I didn't want to be awkward because I'm an introvert and the fear of being awkward and everything. So yeah, like my fear was like, oh, like what if it gets awkward and we don't really have much to say and everything. But it felt pretty natural. It felt awkward at first just because of that moment. But yeah, like we caught up, like how's work, how's life kind of thing. And yeah, we had our sushi. And then yeah, we saw my friends. Shout out to Isai and Hazel for being the first people to, I guess, see us witness us together, but we weren't together yet.
And I think it made it more awkward, kind of, because we were like, "Oh no, this is not a date.
Yeah,
this is not a date."
It's not what it seems like because it really does seem like it.
That's
funny. But yeah, afterwards, you're like, hey, like this. I forgot how you phrased it, but you're like, this public space, like you want to like sit outside more, like in the planter area in front of it by the parking lot. And then like talk about it. So yeah, like as soon as I started, because like hesitant with opening up and sharing my story. But yeah, once I did, like everything came out, and like just really venting to you, and because I haven't really told anyone about 2020, and how like difficult of a time it was. So just you being available to talk about that like meant a lot to me as well, which is my side of being attracted to you, because you gave me a safe place to be myself and to not feel judged or anything, because like by telling my story during that whole time, I was very vulnerable, and like part of the reasons why I don't open up is the fear of being judged. Like you don't want to be vulnerable and like them turning around being like, that's weird, or like have a reaction that you didn't like foresee or like anything like that. So
so that first conversation, it made us realize, like, I think we both went home thinking the same thing, like, dang, I think I'm attracted to this person.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, because of the situation, I didn't want to be attracted to you. I was like, it's funny now because I was just like, God, why? Like kind of like what you were saying earlier, where you like surrendered to God, and you kind of had a list of requirements. So did I, where yes and no. So obviously I knew the person that I was going to date next had to have a relationship with God. Like that was it. I think that was the only thing. And everything else, I literally I had to rip up that list. I was like, God is, it's in your hands. I don't want to come in with a list and turn someone down that actually might be the person. So I really wanted to be open to anything. Like whatever God was doing, that's what I wanted. And so I only had that one requirement. And after our meetup, it's funny, we call it our first non-date because it wasn't really a date.
Yeah.
But it was, but it was not. Our first non-date, I literally went home talking to God, God, why? You were literally everything I was looking for and more, but you were my ex's friend.
Right. Yeah, no, same thing with me. You know, like with my deal with God or whatever was make it obvious. And with this first interaction, like the conversation, you checked every check or every box that I gave to God.
Yeah.
Which was amazing, and it was like clear to me. I was like, okay, this is God's answer. But then at the same time, I was frustrated because you know you're my friend's ex.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm not the kind of guy to go behind a friend, to homie's back, and do that kind of thing. Like we could have easily done that.
Yeah.
And be like, seeing each other in secret, blah blah blah. But I'm like, no, like I need to do this intentionally. And address that from the start, before anything even happens. So yeah, fast forward to that. My thing with this whole process was just be intentional with everything from the start. That was super important for me because one, that gives me clarification and gives me the answers I want in order to know if I want to continue or not. And it's clear to you as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So after that, for our first non-date, you actually invited me to church because this was like the time where everything was starting to reopen again. Me being the introvert I am, I didn't want to go alone. Plus, like, deep inside, like, I was attracted to you, but I was like denying it because of the situation. I didn't want to be attracted to you. So I invited a friend. We went to your church. The next day we went to my church. So like within a week we had seen each other 3 times. I wouldn't say it was necessarily like intentional, but I think like we were both attracted to each other, but like it wasn't out there. I had no idea what you were thinking or feeling. And I was just in denial mode. So after we went to my church, we went to dinner, you, me, and Serena, my best friend. And it's so funny because this is like such a Serena thing. And it's also a best friend thing. She literally like asked you, she's like, so what are your intentions with Rachel?
I remember that because like that question came out of the blue and it caught me off guard. And I was like in the middle of like getting food or something and I heard it, but like I was like in denial. I was like, she did not just ask me that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I continued getting my food, and fortunately the waitress or waiter came at the same time, and I pretended not to hear her at first. And I was like, yeah, like trying to get some pad thai or whatever. And she's like, what are your intentions with Rachel? I'm like, yeah, so I'm gonna get this as well, and blah blah blah.
And she asked
again. And then she asked again.
Dude, okay, my face, I was like giving her a look like, shut up. Like, are you really doing this right now? Like, you're embarrassing me and I'm right here. Like, what are you doing? Which honestly, like, she was just being like a really good friend, and I appreciate that, but it was just kind of awkward for all of us.
Yeah. Shout out to Serena if you're watching.
Yeah. So we're done with dinner. You kind of had mentioned to me, hey, like we should meet up again, but we didn't really make plans. And then throughout like the following week, you had like you found a reason to text me like almost every day.
Yeah.
I didn't mind, but I was just like, okay, maybe he does like me. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I already like talked to her ex, talked to mutual friends.
Oh yeah, this part's important.
Yeah, laid it out. So all this happened before we saw each other again over the weekend. So we met up for the first time and had dinner on Thursday, sushi. And then my church thing was Saturday. Your church thing was Sunday.
I love how you remember all the details.
Yeah, I mean, because it was like a very pivotal moment of our relationship.
Yeah.
Literally the start.
Yeah.
So I was like very intentional. I was like, I need to make it right before I see her again because I need to, set my because I also your ex's family goes to your church and everything. So I didn't want it to be awkward. I wanted to make it seem like something it wasn't or whatever, but also at the same time I wanted to date you. So yeah, I had conversations with mutual friends, had a conversation with your ex, made sure it was cool. So yeah, I like brought it to his attention, and with intentionality, I was like, hey, like I just wanted to talk to you because, I'm interested in Rachel. And I know this is super awkward, and I apologize, but I kind of gave him a backstory of my conversations with God and the whole year and everything. And I'm like, dude, like I just wanted to be straight with you and intentional with you from the start because you're a homie, you're my brother. I want to make sure we're okay before I even pursue her. So if if you think it's going to be too awkward or if it's too hard for you, I'm not going to put you through that. I'm not going to put us through that. I'm going to end it here without, even going further.
Yeah.
So, so all of that happened and like, it was like the most hectic, anxiety inducing, like first like 2 days after that Thursday. Cause I really wanted to just really
do it right.
Do it right. Do it authentically. Do it as rightfully as possible that I thought was. So that happened before the weekend before our church, but being the amazing person he is, he gave me his blessing. He's like, I love you both and I want both of you to be happy. So, nothing's going to change between us and my feelings towards you and her is not going to change. And that honestly gave me so much relief because, the last thing I wanted to do was for someone to come in between an important relationship. My friends mean so much to me, so I wanted to make sure we were still going to be okay. So yeah, as soon as I got all of that out of the way, I was like, okay, like it's game time. Like I didn't even know if you liked me at that time, but like once I got his permission, I was like, okay, I can like see if she likes me back. Like I don't even know, So so that happened, and then so once that happened, my church thing was on Saturday. I remember making it a point to at least sit with you during the sermon because it was outside, in the cold and everything. And then like you showed up, which was another surprising thing because like it was like 2 days after we first saw each other. I was like, oh, I'll invite her to church, but like, she probably won't come or whatever. And then you showed up with Serena. I was like, okay.
Well, I think, after our conversation, I think I had some level of comfortability with you. Plus, you had invited me before and my ex, but we never went. And so, like, I had always wanted to go. So, and then I low-key liked him, but didn't want to like him. So, like, I just went. But anyways, later that week, we had been texting. We've been like trying to make plans, but it wasn't working out. So then you ended up over text telling me how you like your feelings. We called it. We called it the time you clarified.
Clarification point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had this whole plan after that, trying to figure out because I'm like new to this dating thing. I didn't really date anyone in my adult life, and like I didn't want to do the typical like, this and that. But at the same time, I'm awkward, so I wanted to kind of go about it the right way. And I wanted to plan a nice date, and then or a dinner, and then ask you if you wanted to date. So yeah, but like within the not miscommunication, but like just plans didn't really go accordingly. So that honestly stressed me out because like I'm trying to figure out how to ask you and everything. But yeah, it happened over text. I asked you, I was like, well, first of all, like, are you seeing someone? And then
and then I was like, technically yes, but I've been meaning to end that, so that's just a conversation I need to have.
Yeah. So going with that, and then so I just wanted to clarify because I wanted to be very transparent and everything, and clarify my intentions from the very beginning, because one, that gives me the answers I want, just to be straightforward. I didn't want to beat around the bush or anything. Plus, that gives you clarification as to what my intentions are. It's like, does he like me? Does he not like me? What are his intentions of wanting to see me again? That kind of thing. So by doing that, it kind of gave both of us, clarification.
So you texted me pretty much saying like, I want to date you. And my first response was, I want to date you too, but what about my ex?
Right.
And then you had told me that you had already had that conversation with him got that out of the way, and that honestly made you so much more attractive. Like the clarity, the communication, the intentionality that he had in pursuing me, like that was huge. It showed me what kind of man you were. Like the fact that you beforehand, before you even knew how I felt about you, if I was even interested in you, you had talked to my ex, had that conversation. That showed me your integrity. And that meant a lot. I was like, dang, like this is a man. And yeah, so I was very impressed. Needless to say, I was impressed. And yeah, we went on our first date.
Yeah. And like when we first started dating, you know, I had anxiety because like, okay, yeah, she said yeah, but now, you know, we're making it official, starting to date. And yeah, like the whole process of dating, like, you know, we're already in our late 20s and I didn't want to like mess around. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to find the person I was going to marry.
We both
so-
had that mindset where I'm like, I'm tired of just like dating guys where it's like, it just, you know, it was very like not obvious, but it just didn't work out. And I was tired of that. It's like, God, like, show me the person I'm supposed to marry. Like, I didn't want to mess around with dating. We were both in a place where we wanted to date intentionally. So in our very first dates,
couple dates, yeah.
we had some very serious conversations.
Right. We went in like I thought it was gonna be awkward trying to like navigate through small talk and all that. But honestly, like the conversations flowed, and
Yeah.
what made me more attracted to you, like from the beginning of our dating time, was the fact that we can have those deep conversations.
Yeah.
We had conversations about theology, religion,
Yeah.
about really hard morals and values and everything.
Yeah.
Where we really got to know what the other person was about.
Literally, one of the main questions or first questions I asked you was like, so like, do you want kids?
Yeah, and like
I got straight to the point.
straight to the point. It's funny because like that's like if you think about it, it's like a small question, but honestly, it's a very important question for compatibility. Because
Yeah.
like if you really want kids and the person that you're dating doesn't want to have kids, is obviously something that you guys have to address. Either beforehand or something that you might have to address after the fact that you get married, and then
Yeah.
it becomes either an argument or a place of tension. So just the fact that we were able to have those hard conversations and awkward conversations, honestly, sometimes really clarified that like this was the person that God put in my life.
Yeah, a lot of our beliefs lined up.
Right.
Which honestly, it just shows like it was just a huge God thing. Like if that's one takeaway from like this whole thing, is that God orchestrated all of it. And this was nothing like that I could have ever anticipated. I did not expect you, and I did not expect to find or meet the person I was gonna marry because of an ex. Like that's not what I wanted, honestly, because our situation's a lot more complicated than it's ideal.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to piggyback off of that, just kind of like going into the more testimonial perspective, and just to show how God comes through in your life. You know, like a big part of the season I was going through, I was very intentional about releasing control to God, because this whole time I'm like, you know, trying to figure out what I want to do for my career, what I want to do next, or the next big thing, the stuff with my family, and all of that came down in 2020, and just really like the world was turned upside down. And I'm like, God, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this. I don't know how we're going to make it through this as a family. So releasing the control to him, and having that honest prayer about like, your will be done, like literal, your will be done. And you have to be intentional about that, and not like put God into a box and be like, God, I want this to happen.
Right.
So like, you know, make it happen like one way or another. In that way you kind of restrict God, because like, if you are looking and focusing in one thing, but God's plan is so much bigger and is a totally different route. He's like, yeah, you want this one thing, but like, if you let me control your life, let me control your outcome, like I have so much bigger plans for you.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
And God's answer to your prayers, just like can totally come out of left field for you. And just like having that open-mindedness, being like, yeah, like just total release of control. So, and God will just show up in your life that in ways that you can never even imagine.
Yeah, that's so true. And the key word I think is surrender. Like it's surrendering, because it's so easy. I know, like, I was that person who I had a whole plan for my life, and I was going to be married by this age, have kids by this age, yada, yada, yada. And God had different plans, and I'm so grateful. Now, of course, in hindsight, I am so grateful, but it's really because I got to that place in my life where, like, okay, God, whatever I'm doing, like, this is not working. Like, your plan, like, your will be done. Like, seriously, because I trust you. I trusted him and his plan. Even like in the midst of that, when it was like all like, well, I don't know about this. Like, this is complicated. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Like, it was a surrender thing, and a faith thing, really.
Right. And it's a big change in perspective, because no matter what things you're facing, no matter how good, how bad, in the Bible, it's like, in whatever happens, like, praise him.
Yeah.
It really shift of perspective. If you're going through sickness, praise him for, just finding the blessings that are still in your life, and really opening your eyes that God is still working in pretty much every aspect of your life, no matter the season that you're in.
Yeah. I did want to touch on one more thing, is that just God's grace was like all over this situation, because my ex could have reacted in a completely different way. But he's also a man of God, and just the grace that he had for both of us, the way he responded, it was just like, God, that was you.
Right.
Like, it just made it more clear. And there was so much peace in, like, our decision of going forward with dating, that peace meant so much. And his forgiveness meant so much. And God's grace was just all over this. And I'm just so thankful for that.
Totally.
Yeah. So I feel like this is a good place to end, because
we can go on and on about.
We could probably go on and on. And like I said, we already know we want to be married. And we've only been together a year.
A little, yeah.
Yeah. And our conversations, intentional conversations, really sped forward that process. But yeah, I want to end the conversation here, because there are things that we're currently walking through that we're not ready to speak on, because we're in the middle of it.
Sure.
Eventually, it'll probably be a podcast episode, but today's not
Season
the day.
2?
Yeah. Season 2 coming up. Yeah, so thank you for being here.
Of course.
Thank you for being my first guest.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for editing this video later.
Thank you, future self.
And if you're still watching or listening, thank you. Because I know this episode was a lot longer than the other ones. It was also a lot juicier.
Definitely.
This was low-key drama, but all for God's glory. Like, he made all this situation for his good. That's so true. But anyways, you can follow me on social media. I'm at Rachel Elise with 3 underscores. You are
at D Nelwan. We'll put it in the description below.
Yes. And if this episode meant or touched you in any way, meant anything to you, go ahead and share this episode on your social media. Don't forget to tag us, because someone out there needs to hear this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Have a blessed one.
Till next time.
Peace.